In hindsight, I don't think it's a good idea to help the court. I don't think it's a good idea to try to insert yourself. And I don't think it's a good idea, especially to try to involve yourself in a situation like this involving UMG and Drake. If you don't know, Joe Cat, aka Joseph Reina, was a person that tried to submit an amicus brief for the lawsuit involving Drake and UMG. Now, after he filed this amicus brief, and if you don't know what an amicus brief is, it's basically being a friend of the court and trying to submit information to help the court in this case. Now, he claims to be a neutral, meaning that he doesn't want to help Drake. He doesn't want to help UMG. He wants to help the court by claiming to have valuable information. So he submits this amicus brief claiming to be a neutral with valuable information to help this case by becoming a whistleblower, by being a whistleblower. He claims that he could do all of this, right? Now, at first, I wondered what information did he have? What type of information did he think was so valuable that he had to submit an amicus brief in this case? Also, I wanted to know exactly what was his angle? What angle was he going for? Why was he even participating in this case in general? Because what made you feel like you could involve yourself in this in the first place? What personal vendetta do you have? Or what is the thing that is causing you to do all this, right? He claims to be somebody in the industry, but we really didn't know his motive and why he would be doing this in the first place. So as I'm questioning what's going on with this individual, everybody else is doing the same, rightfully so. He just comes out of nowhere, files an amicus brief on one of the biggest lawsuits in hip hop, and everybody's reacting to it. Everybody wants to know, well, who is this guy? Anybody following this case wants to know, why is he doing this and who is he? What's his motive? Well, as the days went on, as the time went on, and others started reacting to his amicus brief that he had filed in this court case, as everybody's reacting to this court case, creators like Jay Nolan and Absolutely and myself had talked about him. But the difference is that he's actually stepped into Jay Nolan and Absolutely's comments, specifically Jay Nolan's, where he spent 12 hours trying to argue with people in the comments who were questioning who he was and where he was coming from. A lot of people were saying if he was siding with Drake. A lot of people thought, was he siding with UMG? Was he actually a neutral? Nobody knew his angle, so people were just speculating because nobody knows who this guy is. Jay Nolan, and shout out Jay Nolan, decided to step in because he kept commenting and replying to people nonstop in his comment section. This is one of the comments. Joe Cat says, this is exactly why the industry never heals, because even when someone documents the system with receipts, people assume a payout, not a motive. No one has shown proof I took anything from OVO. They just project, and no one would speak unless they were paid to. That's the trauma. That's why nothing ever changes. Now, there is way more comments, and there's a lot of more questionable comments in this comment section. I'm just going to read this one where Jay Nolan responds to him. But if you want to check out the video, you could go to Jay Nolan's channel. Shout out Jay Nolan. I highly recommend it. Jay Nolan says, I see you've taken some time out to respond to quite a few comments here. Would you mind doing a short-term interview on my channel to give more understanding on what your position is here as a neutral party? Like I said, people were speculating. People didn't know who he was. They didn't know his angle. Or is he a neutral or not? What was his purpose? Is he against Drake? Is he against the system? What is going on? He says, I'll pass. If the initial coverage had been neutral, that might have been different conversation, but I'm not here to explain myself after the fact. The filings speak louder than the interviews ever will. Jay Nolan says, fair enough. So for clarity, you'd rather spend your morning responding to comments, still defending and explaining yourself on my channel, than to just have a conversation where people could more easily understand your stance on the subject. Not a problem. See, this is exactly the point that I was trying to make. He spent hours in the comment section. Jay Nolan even offered him an interview and he denied it. So I guess Joe Cat rather argue in the comment section than talk about it with the person that actually owns the channel. And obviously, just like Jay Nolan and everybody else, we want to know exactly where this guy's coming from. Why not just sit down and do the interview with Jay Nolan? He turns it down. He goes back and forth with Jay Nolan. He refuses to do the interview, and he continues to argue with people in the comment section, saying a lot of questionable things, not only in the comment section, but online as well, when he has UMG tag and he has Exhibit A, Universal UMG. And then he also has things like this where he says stuff like, if anything happens to me, start with Drake and gifting chains. So now he's talking about UMG being Exhibit A, and now he's talking about if something happens to him, start with Drake and whoever's gifting him chains. And then he tags Donald Trump, the White House, and all these other entities. Yeah, what is this guy doing? You know, what is he doing exactly? Like all these posts that he makes online just makes me feel like this person is not a reliable source. After seeing him in the comment section in Jay Nolan's video, Absolutely's video, and even before I made my video, I already questioned who this person was. And I already had thought that the court wasn't going to use anything that he had because I felt like it was just going to be something that they would dismiss right away. It didn't seem like it would fit their purpose. And I didn't think the courts wouldn't want to get anybody else involved in this case. It's already messy as it is. This guy is completely unhinged. When it comes to arguing in the comment section, when it comes to posting stuff like this online, it was clear as day that this guy was not a reliable source. Any type of credibility that he had submitting that amicus brief is completely shot when he started reacting to himself online, when he started commenting and arguing with people in the comment section, and when he started posting stuff like this after the fact. It just led me to believe that this guy is not a reliable source. At first, I thought it could have just been for money, but now I'm starting to think that it was just for clout. I'm starting to think that this was just for attention. And I think the court agrees because it says right here in a brief description, April 14, 2025, order denying 33 letter motion to file amicus brief. The court does not find that the proposed amicus submission would aid the court in its consideration of this matter. Accordingly, leave to file an amicus brief is denied, hereby ordered by Judge Jeanette Vargas. So she denied the amicus brief. And obviously, this was something that was going to happen because of how this individual was talking online. And after a while, after making the video, after watching everybody else's video, and after seeing how he was reacting in the comments, it's no surprise that the court is going to deny this guy's request to help. I don't think that no court in their right mind would want help from an individual who would argue in the comment section for hours and would make posts like this about Drake and would make posts about UMG like this. Somebody who's willing to make posts like this and is claiming to be a friend of the court and claims to be a neutral wouldn't post shit like this. I was already questioning this guy's credibility the day I heard about this guy. But after some time went by, I realized that this guy is not reliable. The court doesn't think that he's reliable. The public doesn't think that he's reliable. And everybody else who's covered him doesn't think that he's reliable at all. With posts like this and comments like this, it's no wonder that Joe Cat got denied. And I'm glad he did. I'm glad that he got his amicus brief denied. Because now I'm starting to think he probably didn't have anything of real value. If he really did, he wouldn't be out here arguing publicly with so many people. You would have stayed quiet because you knew the information that you had was more important to share than to try to defend yourself online. I just think it's strange how this guy came out of nowhere. He tried to insert himself. He acted like people should already know who he is, but nobody even knows who he is or where he comes from. Acts like people shouldn't question where he comes from. At the end of the day, I think this guy just messed himself up. I think he shot himself in the foot. Now, granted, I never thought that he was going to be approved. I always thought that he was going to get denied anyways. But after making the video and seeing everything that he had posted online, I knew immediately, like, yeah, this isn't going anywhere. If he really cared, he wouldn't be doing all of this. So when I saw all of this behavior online, I knew that he was going to get denied instantly. It was already questionable before that. But after this, it was a no-brainer. And he should have took that interview because now it looks like nobody is going to hear what he had to say. And honestly, at this point, I don't think nobody's going to want to interview him. He had his chance and he lost it. He filed his amicus and he lost it. He had his nonprofit and he lost it. I think this individual should have never inserted himself in this situation to begin with. He was just left with rejection and lost more than he gained coming into this. But y'all tell me how you feel about this and get back to me, man. Y'all tell me how you feel about this whole situation, about this Joe Cat individual, and let me know in the comments, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video, man. Peace. Keep it a legend.